Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse is Indriya, that is, the faculties with which a human being is equipped. And it is a series on the different both bodily and mental faculties with which we are endowed from birth. Now these faculties, we have already discussed something about it in the last discourse. Today I will expand a little more on what I have discussed last time. There are 22 indriyas or 22 faculties. 8 of them at the level of the body and the rest at the level of the mind. Now these indriyas are special endowments, inborn talents, inborn intelligence, inborn capacity and all that. It's like now, for instance, a little duck just born, the egg shell was broken by the mother and that tiny little thing just came out, jumped out of that little cell. And this happened, I saw in the TV. You see, this happened somewhere in a small cave in the mountain. And it's a precipice, some 20 feet or so, or some several feet above the Pacific Ocean. Now the mother jumped out of that. There are a litter of maybe about 20 little ducks. She had, she had got them hatched. Now these little things with the mother jumped out of that place right on the Pacific Ocean, one by one from that height. Nothing happened to them, they just jumped. And then by falling on the water, it was like they were in the heaven. Very, very happy, just floating about and extremely happy. So now these little ducklings jumping into the water and in that manner, and finding it absolutely a natural habitat and something natural. From where has this ability, this aptitude and all that come? And how can you describe this? The others can't do that, but these ducklings. So they have a special talent, a special ability and skill and all that. They are fitted with that as they come into this world, at their body level and at their mental level as well. Now another example of that of a pedigree dog, as different from a mongrel dog. Mongrel means this a country type, as they say here. They go roam about in the street, very miserable looking little things. Now these dogs are really very extremely costly and expensive toys, so to say. I know again in the TV, there are these dog shows. All these rich people, my goodness, all billionaires and whatnot, they bring these pedigree dogs. All very funny looking, and some are really exotic looking creatures. Not normal at all, but they are pedigree dogs. Some having no hair, and that's a pedigree dog. Some having no tail, that's a pedigree dog. And some very peculiar type of long ear. And all that kind, you see, there are these dog shows and they are expensive, very expensive, and people who go to see them they have to shell out a big chunk of money to get in there. So now this, each pedigree, their speciality, you see, is not only in terms of their looks, but certain abilities that they have. They're very valuable because of the inborn traits that they have got, each one. So this is just an example or two at the animal level. At the human level, we have all kinds of people. I saw a young a child almost, you see, I came in contact. Now this was in Amarapura in Burma, about 30-40 miles away from the city of Mandalay. It was the capital in the past, and then now it is the, you see, the cultural capital of that country. See, this child at that age, as revealed by the child himself when he grew up and became a big chief executive of the Mandalay city corporation government. He was the chief of that. He was telling us his life story. He said, well, you know, actually I was a woman, he said. You see, I was married to a doctor. We had no issues. We used to go to Sagaing, which is the other side of the river, you see, Irrawaddy. And that's a mountain, a hill, a retreat place where hundreds of people went every day and practiced meditation and came in contact with very highly developed yogis. They call themselves yogis there also, meditating. They are meditation masters. So now it so happened that this lady, now the person that I am talking to, at that time she was a lady, and her husband doctor. They spent the Saturday, the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday they will return. This they have been doing for years together, meditating, and very, very happy people. And so suddenly it seems in the morning they had breakfast in that particular monastery, meditation monastery. And after the breakfast they were returning to Mandalay by the boat. You see, some mechanical boat they had. And suddenly she had a pain, colic pain, very strong, powerful colic pain, and she died right there. As she died, suddenly, of course, the whole world of the husband changed. Extremely miserable. He was doctor, he couldn't do anything, though he was a doctor. So in this tragic situation, suddenly she finds herself that she is a disembodied creature, some kind of a spirit, you see, some disembodied preta, what we call the preta. And she was watching that her body is being carried away and put into the boat, and then she couldn't go there because there were some monks sitting there, and along with the husband was very, very unhappy and sad, and there were so many others also in that mechanical little ferry boat, you see. And then they went to the other side. Then she saw that, went to her house, all these people with the body, and outside the house there was a tamarind tree, and she went and she could only go and settle down on that tree. As a spirit, she couldn't enter the house because the house had a powerful spiritual vibration that she couldn't just face. So this is one experience of previous life. Now, in this life, she said, I was born, and I suddenly became aware at the age of when I was 1.5 year old boy, the son of, you see, a farmer. Suddenly, as he was given by the mother gave some kind of a sweet, some biscuit-like stuff, Burmese, made biscuit. So as he was eating, he suddenly became aware that she used to cook, she used to make these biscuits, rice biscuits and all that. Then she became, this boy now, remembered everything of the past life. And she remembered, or rather he now, remembered the name of her name, husband's name, the name of the street of the road, or the name of the street, every detail of past life, how much money she had saved, etc. So now, when he got this kind of experience, he blurted out loudly and told the mother, "You are not my mother. This is not my house. My house is there in Bentley, in such and such a street. My husband is there, he is a big doctor there in the municipality." And so on. So the mother got very upset. Said, "My goodness, my baby, this little fellow, now talking like this." So she told the whole thing when the husband came for food in the afternoon. And the husband went, he heard this and went straight to the monastery, in that local monastery where the shadow or the monk, the spiritual head of that monastery, he told everything. Look here, it's a matter of remembering past life. Jati smarana jnana, the knowledge of past life. That knowledge has suddenly appeared in this child, and he can't keep quiet. He blurted out the whole thing, and he doesn't know what it's all about. So you do one thing, be very objective, don't get disturbed. You give him some more of that biscuit stuff which created this memory. Every day you tell your wife to cook nicely and keep for him, and you feed him. Every time you will see that after he gets these biscuits and he eats them, he will blurt out something new, some information he will come out with. And this was done. So for nearly 6 months, all the details of whatever he said were collected. And then this monk's venerable monk said, "Come on, I will send a monk to Mandalay city, which is about 45 miles away, and find out whether all these details are correct." And it so happened that every detail was 100% correct. This monk went to the owner of the house, the doctor he had not married, after just a few years. So he said, "Yes, my wife's name was so-and-so," and then the monk one by one read out in that notebook. She said, "My goodness, it's 100% true." And then he said, "Look here." She said, "In such and such pillar, there is a hole. It's a big bamboo pillar, you see, where she used to keep that money. All the changes that she would have after going to the market and all that. And that pillar, that was full, that bamboo little, you see, it's one of those big bamboo, something like a bank now. So that was opened and found out, yes, he was quite a big sum of money. Then in that note it is also said, in the attic ceiling, you see, somewhere, her clothing and all that she kept there. And in her box it seems different types of what they call sarong. There is some kind of lungi-like stuff that the ladies wear. They are very fancy silk things. And so they found out the whole thing. So this man now said, "My goodness, she has become a man." and now it is my duty to educate her. So he said, very good, I will pay whatever is the cost, I will educate your boy and I will adopt him. And that is how he was brought up, and he got the best of schooling in that in Mandalay. Later he was sent to London and he passed, he became an ICS officer of some kind. And then when I saw him, he was about 55 or so. And he had invited me to come to his house and have dana, food, pinapata. So he related to me the whole thing. I told him, well, I am collecting, information about people who remember past life. And I was working on that now. So he gave me all these details. Then like that, I have many people I have met in my life, that they give this extraordinary capacity to remember the past life. And then there are, in the life of the Buddha, it's an autobiographical sutra where Bhagavan has mentioned every detail about his life. Now you see, Buddha became aware that his relatives have all gathered together in the river, just on the bank of river Rohini, and they are going to attack each other and kill each other, just for the river water Rohini. Just they got into a row because the farmers who depended on the water, and that year there was drought and there was some dispute, so they started fighting with each other on both sides of the river, and then it went up to the level of the king. They abused the king of each other. That is how they were now ready to kill each other, just for river water. So Bhagavan was in the morning, early morning, he would plunge into samadhi, what you call this boundless compassion, Maha Karuna Samapatti, and he emerged around 6 o'clock, and he then projected his powerful, the special spiritual power of divine eye, by which he could see everything, anywhere, any part of the universe. So he saw here, they are all, they have arrayed their armies and they were ready to fight. So just before fighting, so the Buddha got up, straight up, used his supernormal powers and flew into that spot. He was now actually in Vaishali, which is about 500 miles away, direct straight north to Kapilavatthu. So he flew right above the river Rohini and remained suspended there, projecting powerful thoughts of metta, universal love, on all these people. Now when he did that, suddenly the kings of both the countries, they were exposed to the powerful vibrations of metta emanating from the heart of the Buddha. So they looked up. There the Buddha, seated in the lotus posture and projecting powerful vibrations of universal love. They were so mortified with shame, they were extremely ashamed and embarrassed like anything. So they just threw their weapons, both of them, on two sides, on the two banks of the river. And then, they bowed down. Buddha spoke to them. He said, well, Maharajas of Sakya kingdom and the Koliya kingdom, what makes you come with all, you see, fully armed and wanting to kill each other, and you are all relatives, close relatives. What makes you do that? Then they said, Venerable Sir, we don't know. Our generals have told us that we must come with them, with the army and march in full formation, get ready to fight. They were Kshatriya, both sides they were warrior Kshatriya communities, and war was nothing new for them. So now, he said, well, which is more costly, Maharaja, the great king, the lives of human beings or the waters of Rohini river? Which costs more, which is more valuable, the water or human life? Smiling, full of love and also compassion. Now these kings were absolutely mortified with shame. They had thrown away their weapon. They bowed down again and again and sought, you see, forgiveness from the Lord of compassion. Now this ability, extraordinary indeed in the history of mankind. Buddha was able to avert a war that would have killed hundreds and hundreds of lives, all close relatives. And for what? For water. The same story goes on. History repeats. Human beings never learn. That is the tragedy of human existence. And this tragedy is called Dukkha Arya Satya, the noble truth of suffering. Here and now, how human mind is carried away by this kind of emotions and hateful thoughts which get translated into hateful words and hateful actions. And there you are. So, what made them do all this? They are Indriyas. See, the kings heard accounts from their defense ministers, who were all generals. They said, you know, these Kolia fellows have challenged your majesty, saying that blighter, he has no brain and he's sitting there, he's not fit to be a king. And also then abusing your family line, your Vangshavali. In other words, your pedigree, so to say. So, abusing. So the only thing we can do is avenge, revenge. That's what human beings are doing now. All over Afghanistan, Middle East, everywhere. And that fellow Bush, who he called himself a president, he didn't have that much of sense. But he started this war, he just attacked Iraq, and the whole place is absolutely filled with violence, killing, all due to this arrogance of I-ness and my-ness. So this I-ness, my-ness, arrogance is a product of a certain type of thinking. And this thinking originates in the mind. Manindriya, mind as the faculty, the source of all power. Now, Indriya really means that faculty by which one is able to exercise control over others. So they all wanted to control each other, but never themselves. Human beings do that all the time, constantly. They want to control others. They want to put down others. They want to dominate over others, or they are dominating influence spread everywhere. All this they want to do, but never control themselves. This blindness again is an endowment as a part of the manindriya, mental faculty, the negative side of mental faculty. So now this story is interesting. This is a historical fact. It's not a Puranic cock and bull story, no. This is a fact. So now, here if you go deeply into this, you see that human life is equipped with such tremendous power of destruction and tremendous power of saving, love, power of benevolence and benefiting the whole universe. So this power, faculty, you see, at two levels. We can, if you define the word indriya, you will see one at the individual level in the form of various bodily and mental faculties. And the other at the collective level. That word faculty also is applied in a collective way, where let's say you say in a university you have got the faculty members. That is the combined intellectual powerhouse, so to say. Now represented by so many professors, so many faculties, means so many different departments. You see, the faculty of philosophy, faculty of religious studies, faculty of science, faculty of technology, faculty of medicine. All these are different branches of knowledge represented by very learned men known as professors and so on. So that's a power, that's an agency, you see, a storage of knowledge. They represent that. And this knowledge is being handed down from teacher to disciple, students to again their students, and so on, this chain of human beings and the knowledge and the skill, you see, involved in these various branches of knowledge and skill. All that is handed down in a chain. So, this is at the collective level. So, faculty at the collective level. So, this also amounts to a powerhouse. Knowledge as an empowering agency. Knowledge is power. Now, you send your children in the school and you empower their mind with knowledge. And that knowledge can be utilized not only for, let us say, building up their own homes, their own families, their own survival in future, but survival of this whole civilization, whole species. So this is how, through faculty, continuity of existence, continuity of knowledge, continuity of special powers, all this goes on through the faculties. Sorry. At the individual level, I gave you the instance of the duckling or the pedigree, the horse, the dog, etc. Among human beings, you have got also pedigreed men and women, very, very talented indeed. And how come they are endowed with all this? That's the question. Now, if you take the example of a pedigreed horse, It simply means that the horse, it's a Vangshavali. It says a history of the breeding of this horse. The horse, this particular species, was bred in such a way through years, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, breeds, line of breeding. So now this particular, the horse that is before you is number 55 in a particular family of breeding. That means before him 55 his, all his father and grandfather and so on, that line. 55th, this particular horse is the 55th. So he has got all the qualities of all his forefathers. Purely at the physical level, I'm talking purely at the physical level. So at the physical level he is endowed with the talent and the power and so many abilities of the horse, this particular species of this breeding of horse. Now he is endowed with all that cumulative, talent and ability, all kinds of power and ability, so on. So he has got all that his forefathers had developed, the cumulative. So now, if you apply the same, the extrapolate the same idea into mind, let us say. Because from life to life we evolve. Life is not just you are born and you die and the whole story is finished there. No. Though some religions try to make that out, which of course is not borne by facts. I gave you the example of people remembering the birth, past lives. So life ultimately simply means a line, a chain of existence. Life to life one evolves. It's evolutionary process. That is life. Either from a lower state to a higher state or vice versa, from higher to lower. That's actually the case. So now, if a person has been bred very well, a human being, let us say, through life to life, he has been trained his mind has been trained in a certain way. His mind has been trained that violence never works. Human beings beget human beings, dogs beget dogs, horses beget horses. The mango fruit or mango plant begets mango fruits. So this begetting of the same kind, whether a human being or an animal or a particular fruit, tree. Now, this chain, as this begetting goes on, all the traits of the previous lives are also passed on to the next, to the later ones. So, now, for instance, the eye, we have got 5 physical faculties. They are sense organs, eye, ear, nose, tongue, tongue and the body. These 5. Chakshu, Shrota, Grana, Jivha, Kaya. And then the mind is the 6th Indriya or faculty. Now these faculties have evolved from life to life to life. If you had intensely desired to see things and enjoy the things of the world, and you, through the use of your eye, this tremendous pleasure of seeing, experiencing the world, if you have developed the attachment for the eye so much, you are bound to be born in a world with an eye, because you have already nurtured that eye faculty. And you come back again this time with the eye. I'll give you an experience. I had visited this Bandipur, forest range. The chief conservator had taken me some years ago, it was somewhere in the 70s. He wanted to show me all the animals, wild animals and everything there. That Bandipur, very famous forest bungalow and all that, station. So there, we were driving in a jeep, or one of those bigger jeeps, that these departments have. And there, about 6 or 7 of us, they were all there. Mr. Kaikini, chief conservator, he was there. I was there, so all of us were going. Now he had men who were highly trained eye. They could spot a wild animal miles away. So now one of them just whispered, saying, oh, ane, anta. There you see there is a big elephant there, somewhere near that hillock. My goodness, I tried my very best to see and just scurrying very hard to find out where is that elephant. I could never see it. Nor the others who were not trained. But Kaikini had a trained eye also. He said, see, look at that little hillock there. Yes, I could see the hill. It was a big, big object. You just, go around the hill. Now come to the bottom of the hill with your sea. There, do you see something? Yeah. And the elephant had camouflaged itself so well, it looked like a rock. Rock was blackish and the elephant was also blackish. And when I saw this creature, a huge one, and then the whole lot of them, I was wondering, my goodness, how this man has trained his eye in such a way that he could see it from miles away, but I could never see. Now this is the story of faculties, just eye faculty. I have given you other stories also about supernormal powers, psychic abilities, and all these special abilities which are storage of power. They are potentials whereby you could do wonderful things. You can exercise control over nature, over this, over men, over so many kinds of things. Ability to exercise control, that is faculty. Controlling over others, governing others, ability to govern. That is why the word indriya, it says, indrasya kammang or karmang iti indriyam. The action of governing, of controlling, of a ruler, Indra, is indriya. So, now this ability, today I wanted to discuss only up to the physical faculties. I have mentioned about 6 now. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. 5 plus mind. Plus there is the indriya of femininity and masculinity. That a man has got masculine characteristics. Very, very special indeed. This masculinity and femininity is not merely what you call reproductive organs or organism. It's not only that. It's a whole lot of traits and the special type of mind that a man has different from a woman. A woman has different from a man. Though they are very close friends, they are husband and wife, but they are 2 different species altogether. So the idea of man and woman is equal, same, physically, is just a fake idea. equality does not exist in physical level. It exists at the mental level. The opportunity to be equal, yes. A woman can become an arahat, a liberated, perfected, enlightened being. And Bhagavan Buddha had hundreds, thousands of them, his disciples. They are all mothers, holy mothers. They are wonderful people indeed. Just as a man, bhikkhu, can become enlightened, bhikkhuni too can become enlightened. So at that level, yes, this word can apply. Otherwise, the physical level or the social level, family level, the question of equality is not the right term, but some other, let's say the equality of opportunities and etc. You see, that is. So now, these physical 6 or 5 mental faculty, the faculty of the gender, the femininity and masculinity, all these put together comes 8 altogether. 5 plus 2 masculine and femininity, and the life, what is called jivitindriya. Now this is a very wonderful faculty indeed. Now this is the repository, the storehouse, so to say, of all the karmic, the karmas, that karmic forces that we have accumulated through hundreds and thousands of janmas, which have not yet which have not yet produced a result. So they are in the form of a potency. So they are potencies in the karmic forces, and they are there in our consciousness or mind is the carrier of all these potencies. They are known as katatta karma. Actions already performed, but the results have not yet come. Results will appear only when they have right opportunities and conditions prevail. So this indriya, jivitindriya, is the controlling agency, so to say, where all our past karmic, all these karmic forces that we have accumulated, they get expended through these particular indriya. They get worked out through this indriya. And so it has a very specific, it is both mental and physical. Jivitindriya is both that. There is the mental jivitindriya, there is also the physical jivitindriya. So they work out the past karmic energies, so to say. Today I will leave it at this. We will pick it up again. The same theme will continue. There are 22 different indriyas. I have dealt so far only with the physical, the bodily faculties, and they are tremendous dominating influence over life, over everything that you can think of. Just the sight itself, forget about any other. The seeing, the ability to see, makes life so very different from the man who doesn't have this capacity to see, who is a blind person. So with this I conclude. May the blessings of Bhagavan Buddha, his Dhamma and Sangha surround your lives with wisdom and well-being. May you all be happy. Sukhino bhavantu.